Welcome to With the First Pick, where we're going team by team to build a perfect 7-round mock draft. Who's on the clock today? We're breaking down the Chicago Bears, their biggest needs, best fits, and sleeper picks that can make their draft. And by the time we're done, you'll have a complete blueprint for how they can dominate draft weekend. That's Josh Edwards. I'm Ryan Wilson. It's time to get on the clock. Let's build the perfect draft for the Windy City Chicago Bears. Last year they picked 9th overall, Josh. Got Roma Dunze. This year they're picking 10th. Edge rusher feels like the pick. But as you look at their depth chart, wide receiver remains a need outside of DJ Moore and Roma Dunze, your guy Tyler Scott. They did sign Olamide Zaccheaus. They got 3 guys along the interior offensive line in free agency. If you're okay with Braxton Jones at left tackle, then maybe you think about edge rush. So what do you want to do?
I think when you look at the board that is available here, the edge rusher position stands out to me as being the best value. You've got Mike Green that's still available. I'm sure you've got a couple of other guys that are ranked a little bit lower here. Yeah, Mykel Williams is still there. I think if you scroll down, Jalen Walker is probably still there as well.
Yeah, and he might even be listed as a linebacker, so he gives you that
Oh,
2
that's
for
right.
1.
Yeah.
Yeah. So check the linebackers real quick, Striker, because Jalen Walker is a dude, and I think his future in the NFL is going to be at edge rush with the ability to move him around. So I don't hate Jalen Walker. I don't hate Mike Green. I don't hate James Pierce. And this will strictly be the on-field part of the conversation because there may be some
Right.
off-field concerns with Mike Green and James Pierce for certain. But football-wise, all these guys feel like top 15 picks.
And just to be clear, Ashton Genty is off the board at this point, right? I don't know where he is on their board specifically. Yeah.
Oh, that would be a
Okay.
bold move there.
Yeah, so I'm good with Mike Green from
Okay.
Marshall. Just give him a little bit more depth. They signed Deo Odeyingbo, but and of course they already have Montez Sweat, Austin Booker. But I don't think you can go wrong having depth along the defensive front, especially with Ben Johnson coming over from the Lions, who had nothing but injuries to their edge rushers last year.
Yeah, Mike Green for me in terms of size and hair on fire playing ability is Will Anderson Jr. So I love him, and he had a fantastic season and somehow an even better Senior Bowl. A couple of days of practice before he understandably and rightfully hung it up for Thursday's session. All right, next up, pick 39. This is from the Carolina Panthers. Must be part of that Bryce Young trade. Oh, my goodness, that Bryce Young trade will not quit killing them. I love Darius Alexander. They do have Grady Jarrett, and they have Javon Dexter from draft a few years ago. So I would keep him in my back pocket here. Any other guys that you like? Alec Ayuminor feels like a number 3, a big target, not particularly explosive, and maybe gives you 75% of what you got in Roma Dunze. So I don't know if you want to sort of double up going down that road. What are you thinking?
A couple different thoughts. Cornerback, you could possibly add some competition there. Safety, maybe a long-term play. Wide receiver, I think, needs competition. So,
Let's start with cornerback, Striker, see where we are there. And then if there's a safety we love that slipped
Xavier
through.
Watts, I noticed, is still there from Notre Dame.
I mean, Maxwell Harrison feels like a bear in terms of the edge that he plays. He feels a little bit like Jalen Johnson.
Jalen Johnson?
Yeah, I see a little of that in his game. I don't remember. Jalen's not particularly big, if I recall correctly, and I'm sure he didn't run as well as Maxwell because Maxwell ran out of the building in terms of speed. And let's see safety real quick. They have Kevin Byard. They have Jaquan Brisker.
Also, I think you could explore a possible upgrade at left tackle if there was just a player there that you can pass up, at least provide some competition to
Yeah.
Braxton Jones there. So
Let's
they
look at
did
tackle
take
real
Kieran
quick.
Almagaji last year.
Yep, developmental guy who was forced into action, but he wasn't quite ready to play just yet out of Yale. Let's see offensive tackle real quick, Striker. Ursary, Cam Williams, Ozzie Trapillo, Jonas Avenaya, Wyatt Millum. I don't think any of these guys. Ursary,
No.
perhaps best case, but I don't know at 39 with other guys out there at
Yeah,
other
I don't feel
positions.
like that represents a clear upgrade. So I would say either probably Xavier Watts or, um, Maxwell Harrison, get some competition in that room.
Let's go Maxwell Harrison because he's a dude, and you're going up against Jared Goff and Jordan Love, and we'll see what happens in Minnesota. But they have some dudes at wide receiver in Minnesota for sure. You can
They
never have
also have
enough
a
defense
pick
backs.
in 2. I think 41 overall. So just 2
Yeah.
picks away. I mean, you could double dip there as well, get Xavier Watts as well.
All right.
Unless you want your guy
We're at
Darius
pick 41
Alexander.
already. So
What's that, striker?
This is pick 41 now.
Right. Yeah. So we got Maxwell Harrison at 39. Let's get to Josh's point, continue to bolster the secondary with Xavier Watts, the safety out of Notre Dame. And now we're cooking with gas. Darius Alexander was still there, but they do have Grady Jarrett, so I think you can. It's not an immediate need. Although running back is a need. DeAndre Swift, they have Rashawn Johnson. Cam Scadaboo is an option. Let's look at wide receiver real quick, striker, just because that's a bigger glaring need. Okay. Well, answer my question right there at the top there, Josh. You okay with my guy, Jalen Royals?
Yeah, go for it.
Or would you rather have someone like Tez Johnson? Tez Johnson, the issue is he weighs 155, and he is slot only.
Yeah, I mean, I think you already get some inside-outside versatility with the guys that they already have on their roster. So Jalen Royals works for me.
Yeah, he's a little bigger than perhaps he plays, 6 feet. I think he weighed 200 pounds or close to it. Ran in the 4.4s. Injured last half of last season, but came back and ran at the combine and was pretty explosive. So DJ Moore, Roma Dunze. I mentioned they signed Olamide Zaccheaus. They have Tyler Scott, and now you get Jalen Royals in that wide receiver room. And that feels like an upgrade over last year where Keenan Allen looked a little bit slower than perhaps we remember him in Los Angeles. So let's take Jalen Royals here, with the 3rd round pick, and then 3 more picks to go. Next up, going to round 5, Josh, pick 148. So offensive line, maybe defensive line, maybe running back. Let's see what's available for a Bears team that started to play better down the stretch. I don't think that Quinn Ewers is still available. I don't think that Caleb Williams can handle that Quinn Ewers smoke, so we don't want to put him in that situation.
I've got a bit of a wild card for you. What about kicker?
Oh, my gosh.
Kicker.
Rip off your mask, John Breach. Reveal yourself. I'll be honest, man.
You got Ryan Fitzgerald right there, Ryan, from Florida State. I mean, it's a home run.
I have not watched one kicker in I don't know how many years. So if you want to take a kicker in the 5th round, they did draft a punter last year who was really good. Give them that. I think they take him in the 4th round. I feel like they take that punter early on day 3. Torrey Taylor. All right, who's your kicker? Let's go crazy.
It would be Ryan Fitzgerald. Honestly, we can probably wait another pick to address kicker.
No, let's take it now. Let's send a message that we value special teams, just like we did last year with Torrey Taylor. And that is a fair point. The kicking game was suspect at times. All right, let's take Ryan Fitzgerald. I don't think we've ever taken a kicker in any of these perfect mock drafts. So Josh Edwards setting the tone early. 2 picks to go.
I'm here to represent John Breach.
Repping John Breach. We don't do a kickers ranking for with the first pick, but maybe we should as special teamers. By the way, going to these pro days, nothing more exciting than watching long snappers from the 40. Long snappers are all of us. Shout out to long snappers everywhere. All right, pick 233. So let's go. We're gonna do some best available stuff here. We talked about the needs. Let's look at offensive line first. Yeah, we start with tackle and see if there's any guys that we like. Weddick, Truss, Vincent, sort of the same old names. Dalton Cooper. I actually love Christian Lichtenham. I don't know how to pronounce his name, out of Oregon State. Like, he did not get a combine invite. I loved his tape. He played well at the Senior Bowl, or the Shrine Bowl, excuse me. I don't mind him as a developmental tackle. Now, they have Kieran Amagaji, as you mentioned, and maybe this is a situation where we don't need to keep doubling down, but I would ask your thoughts before I moved. So Gerard Christian Lichtenham out of Oregon State.
Yeah, I think this is a case of just who is your preference at this point. Who is your favorite, your draft crushes, your my guys at this stage of the draft. For me, it would be Asa Pole among this group, the tackle from Washington State. But no, let's go with your guy. You said it first. Lichtenham.
Yeah, I haven't thought about him since the Shrine Bowl. I noticed that he did not get an invite to the combine, and sometimes that's just more of a function of bad timing. It doesn't necessarily reflect that you're not a good player, yada, yada, yada. All right, I got that pick. You get the last pick here, Josh. By the way, quickly, I just looked it up. Lichtenham, 6'8", 328. He has almost 36-inch arms. What are we doing?
Wow. That's
left
crazy.
tackle only.
Striker, can you
Nickname is Tank. Hey, don't
Striker? Can you
don't.
go to the linebackers?
You're
We're just
stepping
gonna
all
talk
over
over each
my
other's.
Gerard Christian Lichtenhand love here, man. God, give the guy his moment.
All right, finish it up. Finish it up.
Colorado transfer. All right, what do you got?
So the linebacker group, Smail Munden,
What?
is
How's he still
probably
here?
more realistic than Kane Medrano. I think Kane Medrano is probably going to go higher because of what he did at the NFL Combine. So I don't think either one of these two would be there in a real life situation. But we haven't talked about Kane Medrano. Let's go with Kane Medrano,
Let's do it.
a guy that was injured. He ran a 4.4 at the NFL Combine, but he's got good
4.46.
instincts.
Ran a 4.46.
Flows to the ball well. So
6'3",
at
almost
this stage,
222.
at this stage, you're just looking for special teams help anyway. So to get a linebacker that I think is kind of a heat-seeking missile would be an ideal way to finish this.
Yeah, and it's worth noting that linebacker from UCLA was legit. Kane Medrano, Carson Schlesinger, Femi Oladejo moved from linebacker to edge rush because the room was so crowded, and he had a great season and pre-draft process as well. All right, that's it. Mike Green, first pick for the Chicago Bears. Maxwell Harrison and Xavier Watts bolster the secondary. Jalen Royals adds to the wide receiver room. Josh took Ryan Fitzgerald as the kicker. Shout out Torrey Taylor Love. My guy Gerard Christian Lichtenhand, developmental offensive tackle, and then Kane Medrano, the linebacker who tested incredibly well during the pre-draft process as the final pick for the Chicago Bears in this perfect mock draft. All right, that wraps up Chicago's draft class here. Make sure to subscribe to NFL on CBS on YouTube and download with the first pick wherever you get your podcast, and stay tuned for more perfect mock drafts because we're hitting all 32 teams.